I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're entering the nightmarish, mind-bending universe of author H.R. Brown. His collection, The Howling of Satan'S Temple and Other Tales, plunges readers into vivid dystopias, haunting horrors, and psychological thrillers that live just beyond the veil of reality. With gripping imagination and unsettling insight, this author's work will leave you questioning what's real and what's lurking just out of sight. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing work. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Harry, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. It's a pleasure to be here.
You like to write about scary things. Let me ask you
Yeah.
first, what scares you? What are you frightened of? When you wake up in the middle of the night and you have that little chill, what's a thing that can keep you awake?
Anything might at that time of night, but concepts of horror movies, what might hit the planet and destroy us, like Atlantis was destroyed thousands of years ago. Anything.
Natural disasters.
Yeah.
What about the idea
AI.
of the devil, of Satan, of this evil lurking out there that is almost as powerful as God?
Yeah. Well, never met Satan, never want to, but he, there are features of horror like that involving Satan or satanic things in my work, certainly. Um, some of it from nightmares, some of it just from observing the news. But it's a scary world we live in sometimes, and that can come across. I think writing has been a form of catharsis for me in that sense a lot of the time.
Exactly, exactly. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's scary or what can be imagined or what can happen in real life. Sometimes the boundaries blur, of course. Talk to me a little bit about the title, The Howling of Satan's Temple. It's a great one. It's gripping. How did you come up with it, and what do you mean by it?
Well, it's the title of one of the title story of the book. It's I had a horrifying nightmare and involving lava pits and in amongst a pub that people were just drinking in, and I couldn't make head nor tail of it. But having dealt with it for a few days afterwards, I put together a few ideas that would make it into a sort of a future story. But it's yeah, it's not not a pleasant one, I guess.
How would you describe your stories? Are they horror? Are they speculative fiction, or are they something else?
I guess something of all of that. Certainly science fiction in a lot of them, and horrific, maybe fantastical. Some of them, there are a few that are just satire, basically. But yeah, mostly otherworldly, crazy, I guess,
If
that
you were
kind of
going to
thing.
take one story or one tale out of this book and turn it into a film, which would that be and why?
There's a story I wrote in 2002 in that book, amongst many others, but it's called That Good Old Sapphire Globe, and it was my take on the 9/11 attacks at the time. And I don't know, I think it's a take that it differs from most other sci-fi you see on that kind of thing, believe me. But I won't go to. Oh, I think that would probably make a decent film, but it'd take a rare studio to back it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you put the work out there, you never know who's going to read it, discover it, and want to put it in the cinema. That would be terrific. Give us a little overview of that story about 9/11. That sounds fascinating. Tell us about it.
Well, I just set a similar thing, but in 300 years hence, where all the stakes are bigger, and you're getting instead of planes hitting towers, you'd have gigantic starships hitting cities, that kind of thing, and bugs that are microscopic that can do all sorts of damage that no one can even see. I don't want to go too much into it because it's,
Sure.
like you say, terrifying, but it's part of the story as well as it unravels.
Exactly. You don't want to give any spoilers today, that's for sure.
Well,
There's
spoilers.
also humor in your work. Talk to us about putting some humorous aspects into your horror writing.
Um, well, that's just I try and use most of the characters in normal situations that spiral out and go somewhere where you're not expected to be in the normal world. So the reactions are kind of as you might expect. Some of them are just it's just silly. 'Cause
Yeah.
in some situations, it's horrific enough. Do you cry? Do you laugh? And sometimes you just end up laughing because it's so ridiculous.
Exactly,
That's
exactly,
kind of where I'm coming from with some of the humor. I try not to go overboard with that either.
exactly. Talk to us a little bit about your writing career. Is this your first compilation of stories, or have you written other things before? Tell us about that.
I've just been writing ever since I finished university and compiling stories, and they just gathered and gathered. So eventually, suggestion of mate, he said, "Well, you want to start publishing these because they're just doing nothing with them." So I did, and yeah, that's where the first book came from, the Howling of Satan's Temple and Other Tales. It was a collection of all my best work up to that point.
Hmm.
But I've been writing since I've got three books published altogether. I'll share
Oh,
the see well, they're all on there if you can read properly.
yeah.
But yeah, the first one is definitely the hardest hitting. It's the debut. It's the most compact and the most compelling, I think.
Exactly. Talk to us a little bit about the writers or the filmmakers who influence your style, maybe produce things that scare you. I know for a long time, the scariest movie I ever watched, and I think it still is, was The Exorcist.
Um,
What are who are your influences?
yeah, it's just a good one. John Carpenter's films are good. James Cameron's films. I think The Matrix has also been fantastic, although with every sequel, the interest gets drops off. But um, I'm sure there are many others I should be mentioning right now, but I can't think off the top of my head. But
Sure, no worries, but those were all great choices and
Charlie
absolutely,
Brooker's Black Mirror as well. That's a good one.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The Black Mirror series is amazing. As was the classic Twilight Zone
Yeah.
series, so intelligently written and made you look at real things a little bit differently. And I think that's the magic of your work too, is
Yeah.
that you stretch the boundaries, but it's still very believable. It's still very plausible. Because in the future, we won't have airplanes, we will have starships, and they probably won't be crashing in the towers, they'll be crashing in the cities. And that's the kind of stuff that I think makes your writing have true impact. What do you
Thank you.
hope readers take away from what you write?
I think I would just be happy if they want to turn the page. If they're interested enough to, get into the stories and want to finish them. That's the main thing. Um, I hope I hope they have a good time reading them, and
Yeah,
that yeah,
exactly.
that makes them think. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. To
But I
be
think
entertained is not a bad goal. And your
yeah,
stories certainly are entertaining. That's
thank
for
you.
sure. How many stories are there in this book, and what's your personal favorite?
I think there were 11 in that first one. I can't decide. My favorite would either be that good old Sapphire Globe, which I mentioned, the Howling of Satan's Temple, or possibly there's one called Pot of Gold, but that's possibly the darkest one I've ever written. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Give us an overview of the title story, The Howling at Satan's Temple.
Oh, that's a revenge story set in a deeply dystopian future where the primary source of power is volcanic shafts dug through the Earth's crust. And in a situation where I foresaw coming up for 9/11 and all the horrible wars that came afterwards, a future where wars had been decided, but the Christianity and Islam lived in a horrible sort of coexistence, which suited no one and got people killed in horrible ways all the time. It, yeah, I didn't flesh it out too fully that story because it was based on a nightmare, but it was
Mm.
yeah, I just tried to put enough in it to make it cogent and make it work without without willing suspension of disbelief, I think is the term that I was looking for that.
Yeah, absolutely. How much of your writing is inspired by dreams or nightmares?
I think only three or four of the stories I've written in the end were directly inspired by nightmares, but most of the time I can't remember my dreams, which is part of the problem. I mean, I'd mind them all the time for good ideas if I could. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, I mean, I don't know. I think there's so many more stories to write, and we're living in very interesting times at the minute. I think Atlantis is about to become more than just a myth. And I think free energy devices are soon going to escape the clutches of the fossil fuel giants. So I think it's very, very interesting times we're living in going forward.
Absolutely. Is this book part of a series?
Yeah, like I said, there are three compilations of short stories I've done. Put them on my chest there, but the first
Uh-huh.
one, the red one, the Howling of Satan's Temple, is definitely the most concise, the most powerful, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a part. This is part one of the series, or part two, part three.
This is part one we're talking about, but they're not really. They're all stories in their own right. They're all compilations of
They all
shorts.
could stand alone. Yeah,
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 yeah.
without a
In some
doubt.
ways, the favorites, the blue one, my third was, but it's a lot crazier and more experimental. So if you want
Yeah.
to buy any at all, stick with the red one, the first one. It's the most commercially viable, I think, is the term.
Oh, they're all right there on your t-shirt. I see. That's awesome. That's great. You got the merchandise ready to go. So you've got the
Yeah,
Howling of Satan's Temple. You've got Road Rage,
yeah. And the
or
other
is it
one's
Roid Rage, actually?
Roid Rage.
Roid
Yeah.
Rage, like androids.
And
Yeah.
Thursday in the Sky and other tales. So
Yeah.
there's one short story I've written since I published these three books, so it's not in any of them, but it might be the most important one I've ever done. Well, you can have a look at it for free. It's online for free. It's going to form the basis of the start of my fourth book if I want to get around to writing it.
Do
So,
not try this. Is it
yeah.
conceivable one could prove the existence of God using only fish oil and marijuana? Do not try this. Okay,
Well,
you
you've got the
said it's
link
a
there. If you want to find out what that's about, check it out. It's free.
okay, great. And what's the website?
It's stashed on Graham Hancock's website.
Okay.
The link's up there. You can, if you want to follow it, go ahead. But don't.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. We'll check it out. And what are you working on now? I think writers always have something else brewing in their heads. What are you working on
Yeah,
now?
well, the fourth book I'm looking at is going to be a bit different. It's going to be well, the first story in it is the one I just showed you. Other stories I'm still working on, and it might have a through narrative as opposed to the others, which have all just been collections of short stories. So I'll have to see how it goes. I'm not sure yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you were talking before about writing from your nightmares and writing from your dreams. They inspired a few of the stories in this book. Do you keep a journal or something by your bed? How do you remember? So it's tough to remember dreams, like you mentioned, right?
Not necessarily a journal, but I keep paper and pen handy a lot of the time because I'm old school like that. I'm Gen X, you know. If I get an idea, I don't want to be waiting for something to warm up, then trying to type it. I'll just grab paper and pen and get it down before it goes, you know.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, without a doubt. Just scribble down a couple of things because it's amazing. You can have the most vivid dream or
Yeah,
vivid nightmare that has you springing out of your bed at night.
yeah,
And when you wake up in the morning, boom, it's gone,
yeah.
so it's
I've had it worse
incredible.
than that. I've had some of the most amazing ideas and short stories, and I'll sort of come out and go, "What paper, pen?" And as soon as I got the paper and the pen, where's it gone? It's just
Exactly. Boom.
quite a
Inspiration
lot of
comes and goes
yeah,
just like
quite a
that.
lot of tales I could have told. Didn't get the pen quick enough.
Exactly, exactly. Keep that pen handy. We're glad you do most of the time. The name of the book we've been talking about today is The Howling of Satan's Temple and Other Tales by H.R. Brown. It is a
Mhm.
chilling descent into the unexpected, the uncanny, and the unforgettable. Harry, before we leave you here today, anything else you want the folks at home to know?
Um, Jesus loves you.
Jesus does love us all, and that's a great message for sure. God bless you, Harry. Thank you for writing these wonderful works, and I look forward to talking to you again down the road. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.